Hi.
Oh,
Well, George, I was trying to sign on with this other device, my laptop, and it kept asking me to put in.
Head northeast on Brookfield Road.
Pam needs to mute.
Sorry, I just turned it off.
I see this
actually,
is the elderly coffee clutch. So could everybody please mute themselves so I can hear what has gone on so far? George, have people checked in?
No, ma'am. We are waiting on you.
Well, George, why? I don't want to go. I don't want to go where I need to go. So you just sit there and wait on me to tell you what to do? Could we please start with the check-in, George, and start with the people as they came on the line, if you don't mind doing that, because that should have been done.
Oh, Lord. All right, Pam, and then Joan. Your check-in is your name, your branch, and one brief thing.
Okay, hi, I'm Pam. I'm from the Greater Philadelphia branch. And it's sunny today, which has been as the first for a while, so that makes me happy.
Excellent. Joan, and then Philip.
Hi, doing the weather report. This is Joan Goddard, and I'm in the San Jose, California area, San Francisco Bay Area, and we've had a lot of rain and wind and everything, and we've got a tree down out in front of our yard. That's our weather report.
Okay, Philip, and then Robin.
Okay, I am on the freeway in the middle of a downpour, and I am a member of the San Francisco branch. So it's pouring in San Francisco right now.
All right, safe driving. Robin, and then Lori.
Robin Lloyd, Burlington, Vermont, Will, Sunny.
Okay. Robin, and then Samantha.
Just did Robin. So.
Oh, sorry. Samantha, and then Anne.
Hi, Samantha. I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it is sunny and cool.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anne, and then Teresa. Anne Holberg, can you check in? Well, I'll go quickly and then Teresa can go. I'm George Friday. I'm in the Southern Piedmont branch, not far from Charlotte. And so far, this has been not a bad month. And I give thanks for that. Anne, are you able to check in? Teresa, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, George. Well, we have a very simple agenda today. I'm Teresa Elamine, and I'm with the Fannie Lou Hamer branch in Columbus, Georgia. And I'm also the Advancing Human Rights Committee co-chair. And I'm surprised that Cece is not here. But when she does come, the other co-chair, we will make sure she introduces herself. I can't see what people are putting in the chat while I'm talking, but at the Pam is saying she has to leave to go to a doctor's appointment. Well, this is a standard 1 hour meeting. I don't think we're going to be here for an hour. So maybe Pam will get to stay the whole time. And there's somebody trying to connect named Lori Jones.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Lori Jones,
yes,
is that you talking? Or is that somebody talking from Iowa?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm Lori Jones, Teresa. Uh, uh, I'm a member of the Des Moines branch of WILF, and I'm on an internet at the library, and I had to get on my audio phone so I could talk. But glad to be here.
Well, glad to have you. So this is a pretty good turnout. So I'm looking for the participants number. George, can you see that?
Yes, ma'am, the number is 10 under participants.
Oh, okay, so that's counting you and everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, George. Well, did everyone see what I put out about solitary confinement in the state of Georgia and the fact that the Southern Center for Human Rights is suing the state of Georgia prison system for what they're doing in this state? And so in January, and I'm really so sad that Diane Blade is not here because the outgoing secretary of the national board gave us our campaign for ending mass incarceration and the death penalty. So it's a focus that we're going to have, and I envision it to be a 3 to 5 year campaign where we're going to end solitary confinement in the United States. And I always am clear, you do it state by state. So what I had asked people to do, if you saw the email, was check on the status of solitary confinement in your state. Because at our next meeting in March, on March 4th, we're going to invite representatives from the Southern Center for Human Rights. And they're going to talk about their lawsuit against the state of Georgia. But they work Southwide. So they're working in Alabama. They may be working in the Carolinas too. I'm waiting for them to get back with me to tell me where else they may have a lawsuit against the prison system. And so the way that the strategic planning process works, dear members, is you set your goals and then you build from there. So it's like, where do we want to be in 3 years or 5 years? So that's the question we will answer at next meeting. And so for this meeting, I'm hoping we can get reports from all of you. George knew about this, so hopefully she's already checked in with the state of North Carolina, because as I explained to George yesterday or the day before, all you have to do is Google, does North Carolina have solitary confinement? When you Google that, it'll come back with an answer. You would do that for California. You would do that for Iowa. You would do that for Vermont. Everybody gets where I'm going, right? So, George, if you could unmute yourself and be accountable, because you were asked to do this for North Carolina. Did you do it?
I did. There are three organizations.
Speak louder, George, so I can hear you.
Oh, okay. There are 3 organizations in North Carolina working to end solitary confinement. One that has had the most impact. Sorry.
That's Ann. Everybody who's not talking, if you think you might have noise where you are, Robin, Lori, or Ann, mute yourself, please. But if it's quiet, like at my place, nobody's here but me, and we don't need any other distraction because the meeting is going to be closing in a few minutes. George, go ahead and report on North Carolina.
The group that's done the most is Disability Rights North Carolina. Back in 2020, at the beginning of Governor Cooper's term, they forced him to convene a task force for racial equity and criminal justice. And one of the recommendations was to research and end solitary confinement. That was a recommendation in the report. And that was focused on by Disability Rights North Carolina. They report that there are about 10% of the prison population, or 3,000 people currently in solitary confinement. The other group that works on it is North Carolina Justice Center. The North Carolina Justice Center, often partners with the organization Decarceration Now NC. They hold regular vigils to end mass incarceration, solitary confinement, and the death penalty. So those are the groups working on it. There was a vigil on December 7th that Decarcerate Now NC organized. Their Decarcerate NC aren't going to meet again until March. That's what I know for now.
Well, George, it's one thing to get the list, the information, and come up with a report. But as I've said so often, it's about doing the actual work. We can't just be consumers of information. So once we have the information, dear George, we have to begin to set a plan together to connect with the organizations to build a partnership, which was my first step. I contacted Walisha Wilson via email yesterday and made the connect with Southern Center for Human Rights. And based on my knowledge of North Carolina, you should make the connect with the North Carolina Justice Center. They have the most resources. They've been around the longest, and they are the lead organization. They have lobbyists that go to the State House. And so that's the organization you connect with. They're based in Raleigh, as you know, George, and they've been around for at least 20 or maybe over that, because I think they were around when the Southern Anti-Racism Network was founded, and we're celebrating 25 years. So North Carolina Justice Center is the go-to place. So do folks from California, Vermont, or Iowa have any information about what's going on in your state? If you don't currently have the information, tell me how and when you might get it.
Yes. Philip, are you able to talk? I guess the answer would be no if he's not
He
talking.
said he was on a highway with heavy rain.
Right.
Well, why do you need Philip to talk, Joan?
Well,
didn't you just Google it?
I was just asking if he wanted to go ahead.
No, he's muted. It's on you, Joan. Let the women speak up. Let the women speak first. Thank you.
I will. I did check this morning doing a search, just like you just suggested, and found that there was a bill that went through the California legislature about the state prisons, and I believe also local jails, about solitary confinement last year, and it was vetoed by the governor because he wanted it to be different, not because he is not concerned about this, but and then this year there is a bill, and it's been through one of the houses, but it will be reactivated this spring to go through the other houses. And that's the information that I have. Thank you.
Well, what's key in the way of our work is bottom up on the ground. So some organizations or organization led the way for that bill to come into being. So the research that needs to be done for California is, who are the lead organizations? We know it's not WILF. So who are the organizations that led the way?
Sorry, I meant to say that there's a list of about 125 organizations that signed on to support the bill last year, this year at least, this session, which is a 2-year session. and Will
Well, I know
is
you
not
can't
on it.
name, Joan, I know you can't name all of them, but of the larger organizations that you notice, that you know about, could you name just a few, like
Okay. I
4 or
can't name,
5?
I can name one because I noticed American Friends Service Committee.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And you know they're been around a long time. They're another one of these 100-year-old organizations. So they would definitely be a partner for WILF and the WILF branches in North Carolina to say, what can we sisters do together? So thank you so much for your report, Joan. Do we have anything from Iowa? Is that you, Lori Jones, who's unmuted? Were you able to check on Iowa? I see you're unmuted, Lori Jones, but you're not talking. Well, Ann Holberg, who was breaking in with her other sounds, is that your hand up, Ann?
No, no.
Well, what state are you from? You never introduced yourself. I don't remember you.
I'm Ann Hoiberg, and I'm from San Diego, California. And we're working on ending the death penalty. That's one of our governor's main concerns. And he has sidetracked the solitary confinement issue, but we're working on that too.
Okay.
Well, Ann, you, Joan, and Philip are all from California. And one of the objectives of this umbrella advancing human rights committee is to get branches to work together state by state. And the highest concentration of branches in a single state is California. I once heard President Darien say that out of the 1,300 members in WILF, which the count was a couple of years ago, that 900 of those members are actually in California. So even though you no longer have a branch in San Diego, you still have members in California. So if those of you who are in branches in California, San Francisco, East Bay, San Jose, San Diego trying to come back, Sacramento, Palo Alto, Fresno, if y'all could find a way to get together so there will be a powerful movement in California to get that progressive governor to do the right thing. That should be the easiest state to get somebody to do the right thing. And based on the concentration of WILF members in California, I say there's no excuse for not being successful. I will stop now and let Madam C.C. Anderson introduce herself since she's a co-chair of this issue committee with me. So Sister C.C., please introduce yourself so all the folks here will know who you are.
C.C. Anderson, good afternoon, everyone. Late, but I'm just checking in Teresa's assistant here in Atlanta, metropolitan Atlanta area. Thank you.
Who's assistant?
Teresa Alameen.
Look, let me tell y'all something. I don't have an assistant. You and I are equal co-chairs. So you may think I know a lot, CC, but I know you, CC, and I know you know a whole lot. So don't be trying to turn it on me as if you're just assisting me. We are equals in this struggle, sister, and we can talk about that at some point, but I'm glad it's on the record and recorded that C.C. Anderson is not Teresa Alameen's assistant. She is actually co-chair of Advancing Human Rights, and she is also on the national board, recently elected and installed as personnel committee chair. So I'm willing to work with you and follow your leadership in the personnel committee, because just as a momentary detour, you need to establish a personnel committee. If nobody else told you that, let me tell you, as a longtime Wealth member, the personnel committee chair also has a committee, and you need to staff your committee. Ellen
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas was the last person who held the position, and she had a committee. So let's be clear, there are no people assisting it. No. You and I are co-chairs, and you and I co-convene ending mass incarceration and the death penalty. So I'm glad you're here, and you can listen to the recording because we've discussed quite a bit. We had great reports from North Carolina and from California, thanks to George Friday and Joan Goddard. So we know what's going on in those two states. Ann Holberg, who is also from California, said they're aiming to end the death penalty in California. Well, so are we in Georgia. And we will get to that part as we continue on this long road of 3 to 5 years of a strategic plan to end solitary confinement and to end the death penalty. So those are our tasks for the campaign that Diane Blay brought to us on January 18th, I believe it was. No, it was earlier than that. It was January 8th that we discussed doing the campaign. So I will stop talking now since it seems there are no other states to report. And I already reported for Georgia, CC. So are there any questions about the campaign that we're launching? And Lori, can you do the research on what's happening in Iowa? And Pamela Albright, remind me where you're from. Could
Pam
you
has
unmute
left us.
yourself?
She's left us. She's not here. She's from Pennsylvania.
Albright.
I don't know. I'm on the phone now. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I hear you fine.
Okay.
So you're in the Greater Philadelphia branch?
Right. Yeah. I'm just trying to get in my car to go to an appointment, so I'll do my best here. Yeah.
Oh, well, we're getting ready to close out, Pamela. And so I just wanted to check in with you to make sure you understand that your task is to Google, does Pennsylvania have solitary confinement? So when we come back next month on March the 4th at 2 p.m., we will have at least one guest speaker who will be talking about what's going on in Georgia and possibly other states in the South around ending solitary confinement.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Hello. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just left my shoes outside the car, trying to get in the car and talk at the same time. So my neighbor just handed me my shoes.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
That you got such a good neighbor.
Right. Yeah. So I kind of missed part of that, but I was trying to Google it just now about Pennsylvania, and it's a little confusing. So I'll look more carefully and see what I can find out more definitively what's going on.
That would be great because the listserv for the Advancing Human Rights Committee is announced only. So George and I have access to posting to the listserv. I don't think it would be too cumbersome or messed up if everybody can start writing back, because it's going to be a few weeks between now and the next meeting. So it would be good if some reports could come through. But while we're working that out with Glenn, who controls the listservs, in order to open up the Advancing Human Rights listserv, and that may be something that you could check on, George, You're raising your hand, George. What's up?
Well, everyone has to register for this meeting, and we have the individual emails. When I send out the recording, it won't go to the listserv, it'll go to the individual emails. And we could reply to that email with any updates before March 4th. Possibly.
Well, George, please step back. You're the program committee chair. You're not telling me what to do about AHR. You have the recording, George, and the recording should go out to the full list. There's no reason for it not to go out to the full list. We want everybody in the Advancing Human Rights Committee on that listserv to get the recording for all of the working groups. That is the way I roll as co-chair. We're not trying to put it into some small grouping because there are people who registered who didn't show up. So everybody gets to hear the recording and they get to hear everything I'm saying now. You know me, George, full disclosure, full transparency. We're not keeping anybody in the dark. No mushrooms in the Advancing Human Rights Committee. Everything will be transparent. Everybody gets the recording. So since we know when the next meeting is, and it appears no one else has any further comments, and Pamela has to get on with her doctor's appointment, are there any objections to us ending the meeting at this point? I'll ask again, are there any objections to ending the meeting at this point? See, in accordance with Roberta's rules of order, you ask that question, which basically means, is there any unreadiness? If there's no unreadiness in ending this meeting, George, could you please end the meeting since you control the Zoom? Thank you so much.